In chapter 26:34 we read, "When Esau was 40 years old, he took to wife Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basmat, daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they were a source of bitterness to Isaac and Rebekah." Why were they a source of bitterness? Rashi explains that the source of bitterness was that these Hittite women were idol worshippers. And commentator Hizkuni goes so far as to say that Isaac's hearing was enhanced because of his blindness, so that he heard the way the Hittite wives spoke about Rebekah, which made him bitter. And commentator Radak goes even further to explain that these women actively engaged in causing anger and frustration to Isaac and Rebekah. The whole story would then have its purpose to show how disdainful Esau was of the sensitivities of his parents. He did not even protest his wives' behavior or move them out of the patriarchal home. So after Isaac gives his blessings first to Jacob and then to Esau, we all know how angry Esau is. So angry that he vows to kill Jacob. Rebekah arranges for Jacob to go to Haran, to stay with her brother Laban, and to find a wife there. A wife from their own kin, more acceptable than the Canaanite women. And then we kind of want to say, you know what they say, an oh duh moment. Esau has an oh duh moment in 28 verse 8 when he realizes, the Canaanite women displeased my father Isaac. Right? Oh, duh. What does he do? He attempts, perhaps, to right his wrong by marrying a more appropriate woman, Mahalat, a daughter of Ishmael, the granddaughter of Abraham. And yet, according to Proverbs 12:15 and a midrash, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes. This is Esau, because now he sees the daughters of Canaan were evil, and so he thinks that taking a wife from the daughter of Abraham, granddaughter of Abraham, is going to make things better. However, it's only heaping trouble upon trouble. In other words, the solution was no solution at all. There was no way for Esau to overcome his first mistake of marrying the Hittite women. Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, chapter 49, tells us the ramifications of Esau's actions. He says, "And there stood Samuel before the Holy One, blessed be he, and he said, 'Sovereign of the universe, do not forget the sin which Esau did to his father, for he took strange women for his wives, who offered sacrifices and burnt incense to idols, to embitter the years of the life of his parents. Remember his sin unto his sons and unto his grandsons and unto the end of all generations. As it is said, let the iniquity of the fathers be remembered with the Lord.'" Consequently, Esau and his offspring seem to be, for all intents and purposes, canceled from our history. The lesson of Esau's life may have everything to do with the rabbi's agenda of forbidding intermarriage with idol worshippers. Yet we do see him again in Parshat Vayishlach, when Jacob and Esau meet and appear to reconcile. Chapter 33, verse 4 recalls that Esau runs to greet Jacob. He embraces him. They fall upon their necks and they kiss each other and they weep. After they catch up, Esau says, let us start on our journey. I will proceed to your pace. It is as if Esau just assumes that Jacob will join their two families and that they will all live together. Jacob, maybe deceitfully, or maybe just trying to protect Esau's feelings, implores his brother, "You go on ahead. I'll catch up. I'll be there." But in fact, Jacob goes in a completely different direction, clearly never intending to live with Esau or to continue his relationship with him. We hear about Esau one more time after this. In chapter 36 we read, "This is the line of Esau." What is curious in this listing of Esau's wives are that two wives are missing. Judith, one of his original wives who caused bitterness for Rebekah and Isaac, and Mahalat, Abraham's granddaughter. Why are these two completely left out of the family tree? Ibn Ezra says about Judith that she did not bear Esau any children. That may be reason enough. After all, in those days, a wife's role is to bear children, and if there are no offspring, there really isn't a family tree to list. The rabbis seem to agree that Oholibamah, a wife mentioned here for the first time, is actually Judith. In order to deceive his father, they say, the wicked Esau changed her name to Judith, which translates as Jewess, to suggest that she had abandoned idol worship. They also seem to agree that Mahalet was actually Basmat, who is listed here. I suggest it is also possible that Judith and Mahalet were, to use a modern expression, canceled. They no longer had a role to play in the history of the Jewish people, and these names are not repeated. Cancel culture today is an effort to erase objectionable people and objectionable points of view. The irony about cancel culture is it actually provides even more attention to who or what is being canceled. Changing the names of Esau's wives brings our attention to the original names and causes us to consider their purpose and meaning. Consider all the white space in the Torah. We wonder what was left out and what was retained. What did the rabbis or whoever redacted the Torah attempt to cancel? They may have been so successful that we will simply never know. The rabbis and us, we will continue to attempt to fill in these blanks, to create midrash, to fully know our history and the lesson it teaches. May we learn from Esau and his wives, because they actually were not canceled. Their story is recorded here in the Torah for all time. May we, the children of Jacob, teach his brothers lessons to future generations and thereby gain wisdom about ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.